If you feel like your pores look bigger after 50, you're not imagining it. But the truth is, it's usually not your foundation's fault. There are a few things that you might unknowingly be doing that can actually cause your pores to look more noticeable. The good news is, once you fix those, everything's going to look better. The first issue is using too much makeup. Sometimes when we're trying to minimize those areas where there's discoloration or there's large pores, we actually just pile on a little bit more than what we need. But instead of making those areas look better, the extra product settles into the pores and then makes them look bigger or worse. Even though I've blended that really well, it's just too much, and so it's making the texture on my cheek actually look worse than it did before I put this on. Instead, we're going to use less product, thinner layers, and we're going to press the foundation in with a beauty blender. The second issue is how we're applying it. If you swipe foundation over the skin, you drag it across the texture. This can do one of two things. It can either drag across the pores and make the pores look more visible, like I've done here. The other thing that can happen is when we're swiping across, depending on the foundation, we can actually fill the pores up. And if we're swiping like this, we can actually pull the product into the pores. Instead, we'll either press or stipple the foundation into the skin, then lightly press over it with a damp sponge. Pressure smooths, swiping exaggerates. The third issue is powder. Powder is meant to set your makeup in place and hold it there. If you dust powder heavily over your pores, it's going to sit inside them and look like little canyons. Instead, try a small brush, tap off all the excess, and press a minimal amount in just where you need it. Usually that's going to be around the nose and the inner cheeks. Light pressure, small amount, strategic placement. Finally, let's go ahead and talk about primer, because primer can help pores, but only if it's used correctly. Makeup primer smooths the surface of the skin by filling in all those pores and fine lines before you apply foundation. But this is even for my oily skin girlies. You don't want to put primer over dehydrated skin. Even if it's hydrating primer, it won't fix dehydrated skin. So regardless of your skin type, your skin still needs to be properly hydrated underneath. If you're not sure how to layer hydration properly, I've got a video that'll walk you through step by step, and I'll put the link in the description. Choose a primer that supports your skin goals. For example, I have very dry skin on most of my face, but I have an oily nose, and sometimes the whole T-zone is a little oily. So I might use an oil control primer on my nose, and then a hydrating primer under my eyes. And the rule with primer is we don't want to use a lot. We just want to use enough to get the job done. And we only want to put it where it's needed. If we don't need primer out here, we're not going to put it there. The less on the face, the better. And then once I get this on, I'm going to wait a full 60 seconds. Let it set before we use any foundation. Most pore issues are not about searching for a new foundation. They're about placement, pressure, and the amount used. Once those are under control, everything looks smoother, especially on over 50 skin. Products that I used are listed in the description, and thanks for watching.